YouTube, it's me, Rosie, but as you can see, it's not just me this week. I've got my friend Kate with me.
Hello everyone.
So, as you guys know, it's Christmas coming up. We've got the Christmas tree in the background. So, our Christmas present to you is to do a video with double the fun. We're gonna do a video together on dating French boys.
Something we both know a lot about.
We do. So, Kate actually took it to the next level. Yeah, and she's actually gone and married a Frenchman.
I did. So I've been in France for 8 years now, and I finally took the deep dive, and Rob and I got married this last summer.
And for me, with my Frenchie, we've been together about 5 years, no ring on it, empty hand, as you can see, hint, 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 hint. And yeah, so we wanted to do a video on the things that we wish we had known before we entered into these long-term relationships with Frenchmen. It probably could have saved us a lot of
tears, maybe.
Yeah, a lot of tears, a lot of stubbornness on certain points, a lot of fights that were never going to end in our favor. Miscommunication. Exactly. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the first 5 things that we wished we had known before we started dating Frenchmen.
So the first thing that we wanted to talk to you guys about is the way that French men celebrate holidays. So besides something like Christmas, which is definitely celebrated everywhere, I'm talking from my American background. I don't know if it's the same in New Zealand, but we celebrate everything from something as big as Christmas to something as small as the first 100 days of school. So celebrations all the time. For example, I have been living in France now for 8 years, but I remember the first time that I was dating a French guy. So it wasn't Robin, but we were together, and I had worked really hard to finish college 1 year early so I could move to France and we could finally be together full time. And my graduation day came, and everything I'd worked for us happened and was here. And not only did he not call me to talk to me about graduation, to wish me a happy graduation, he did not send a card, he did not send a gift, he didn't even acknowledge the fact that I was graduating. So at the time I was just so surprised and shocked and hurt. And after moving to France and living for a little while and also dating other guys, because obviously we didn't work out, I come to realize that not only is graduation not a big thing in France, but then on top of it, they don't really celebrate things the same way that we do in the States. So even if it had been a big deal, I wouldn't have received a card or a gift because it wasn't my birthday or Christmas.
Exactly. I have exactly the same experience. I mean, I used to be the kind of profile who was like, okay, it's 10 days till our 1 year anniversary, do the countdown, 10 little presents before the anniversary to kind of tease, and then you get sent on a big treasure hunt for the actual event. And I was really this kind of person that was super into big celebrations and gifts and very romantic. So for Valentine's Day, for birthdays and that kind of thing. And I remember just being so devastated with my first Valentine's Day.
Devastated.
That's the right word. With my first Valentine's Day. I just had a moment where I thought, oh, he's quite frugal, like with money. And it's really not like that at all, but for him it just wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, Valentine's Day is not really celebrated. So for example, on Valentine's Day, our compromise is we go to Pizza Hut. Yeah. So Robin hates Pizza Hut, and so his big compromise on Valentine's Day is that we can go there and I can eat my favorite pizza, because it's not really anything that he likes, but that's about as far as I get for Valentine's Day, is a dinner out at Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
And that's a big improvement.
And you imagine these Frenchmen to be like these brooding, emotional, complex and mysterious guys who write you big long love letters and things, but honestly, it took me years and years and years to even get a written birthday card.
I was on the same page where I like to write a lot of cards, and I really like to express, like, for birthdays, I'll write, really long birthday cards for Robin, and he would never do anything like that for me, and I was always kind of like, oh, but I'd really like that. And so, for example, when he proposed, one of the things that he did do for that was write a card that I could keep. So it's, they pay attention, and, you can kind of talk more and more about holidays, but
they do learn. So the second point that we wanted to talk about, and this is true for French men, but it's true for the French people in general, is that they don't really hold anything back when it comes to giving you feedback. So they will give you quite direct feedback. It can be on your cooking or what you're wearing, but I found that quite surprising that Nels was so direct. Just the other day, I went through the effort of what I thought was making him a lovely quiche for dinner with a nice salad and everything. And we sit down at the table and we're eating away, and I asked Nels, what do you think of the quiche? And his response was, You know, you do have the tendency to make quite watery quiches. Thank you for this, like, tie. And I mean, but that's quite typical. Like, he's not gonna beat around the bush. Like, he'll just get to the point.
No, not at all. Robin is the same way, like very direct and says exactly what he's thinking. And the worst time is for things that you don't take very personally, it's not like that big of a deal. But I remember just a couple weeks ago, I had like cleaned the entire apartment. So that was like a big deal. I'd done everything while he was out. It was kind of like a surprise. And he came back and I was like, do you notice something? And he was like, oh, you know, you cleaned the apartment. And he looks down at the table and he was like, you always have a hard time like washing the windows and the tables with that solution. I can still see the marks. And I was just like, I definitely think that this type of like direct feedback behavior is not necessarily just a French male thing. I think it's also just a French cultural thing. And one of my favorite examples is Robin's mom, who is absolutely, I have a fabulous mother-in-law. But she's really direct about weight gain, which I would find to be like a super sensitive subject. I don't think my mother would ever be like, oh, honey, it looks like you put on a few pounds. I think she wouldn't say anything. No. Whereas in France, they don't really see weight gain in the same way we do in the States, where it's something about a physical appearance. It's really directly related to health. So Robin, you know, whatever, holiday season, put on a couple of pounds. And we went to go have lunch at his mom's house. And the first thing she said to him was, oh, honey, it looks like you put on a couple of kilos. Like, you know, Kate, you should really make some soup. You guys should be eating soup next week. Like, you need to be careful. And Robin was like, okay. And I was like, oh my goodness. If I got that kind of direct feedback from my mom, I would be thinking about that the whole day.
I would be crying for a week. Screw soup. I would be going like full on lemon detox for a week.
Juice cleanse. Yeah, so I think it's definitely a learned behavior as well. They get direct feedback from their family, and so that's just kind of a cultural thing they pass on. But there's no barriers between men and women, so be ready for some direct feedback.
Definitely. So the third thing that we wanted to talk about around dating Frenchmen is that they don't necessarily appreciate the efforts that we would have made with guys that we would be dating back home, for example. Our eyebrows are done, our eyes are done, our hair is GHD curls. like things are done up, let's say. We don't have that effortless approach that the French women do. I used to go out to dates, like, you know, quite dressed up. What I thought was attractive to men that I was used to. So that means I had my goodies out, in addition to nice hair, nice makeup and stuff. And a few weeks into dating, Niels was kind enough to give me the feedback that he thought I looked a little bit tarty. The one night he was just like, oh, Rosie. And I was like, what? He like looked at me really sad, oh, Rosie, you're wearing too much makeup.
To be very frank, Robin is a big boob guy. So like anytime that somebody's chest is out, whether it's mine or it's yours, he is going to be like, yay! I don't know that he would have done the same thing as Neil. So in the States, the same way that it is, I think, in New Zealand, is you want to curl your hair, you want to do your eyebrows, you want to put on a lot of makeup, and you want to put on heels, and it's a night out on the town. Now, when I look back at other people in New Zealand going out and stuff, I have a little bit the same reaction. Somebody's on the hunt. Exactly, someone's on the prowl tonight. And it's awful, but yes, it's super cultural, and this is why I can completely understand now where Niels was coming from when he gave me this constructive feedback. So I've gotten used to dressing down and being more natural, but there is that side of me that still kind of pops out from every now and then. Exactly. Unleash. Unleash your inner hoe, ladies. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is kind of how much interest that Frenchmen take in your fashion choices, because as we were just saying that, you know, they like somebody to dress down and maybe more natural, etc. They also have quite an opinion about clothes. So Robin, for example, if I just take my own personal experience, he doesn't enjoy going shopping with me, and he's never going to buy clothes for me at all. But he will, when I'm getting dressed, make comments like, for example, yesterday, is that what you're wearing to work? Clearly, that's what I have on, and I'm about to walk out of the door. So at the same time, he's super direct about what he thinks. So he's not going to go like, buy clothes or come with me to pick them out, but I can come back from shopping and he'll be like, oh, well, show me what you got. And I put it on, and then he'll be like, I don't like that, and I don't like that. But yeah, that one you can keep. I'm like, oh, well, thank you for your input.
Yeah, this was quite surprising for me. Like, it'll be my birthday, and as my gift, Niels would have gone out shopping, and he'll buy me knee-high leather boots. He'll have actually made a decision and purchased dresses for me, which I find quite brave. But yeah, he also has an opinion on what I wear, and it's just part of the package.
Stay strong.
Yeah.
Because you can still wear whatever you want.
You can wear whatever you want. If you decide to take their opinion or not, that's a whole
other debate. So the final thing that we wanted to talk to you guys about is my favorite subject. It is exes in France.
Yay!
Oh, so one of the things I've learned, I have had 3 relationships with Frenchmen since I moved here, and one of the things I've learned is that exes are never out of the picture. Which means that you do need to learn to be comfortable hanging out with a girl who has had intimate relationships with your boyfriend or your husband in my case. Yeah. In my specific case with Robin, he actually grew up right outside of Paris, and so we live in Paris right now, so all of his friends are still here. And I think, at least in the US, from my experiences, you know that high school, college phase where everybody kind of shares boyfriends and you've got a big group of, say, 25 friends, and you're kind of, you know, passing people around and breaking up and getting together with everybody, that at some point now, most of them are married now and have serious relationships, but they've all at some point kind of hooked up with each other. And they're all really great friends now, and they don't mind, so they kind of expect that the new people that they bring into the group don't mind either.
Kind of have to get used to it here, I think, because it's super normal to hook up and then stay friends, and I know that's probably more healthy and that's the way it maybe should be, but it is kind of awkward when you know you're meeting someone and you're like, oh, so you know what my boyfriend looks like naked. Nice to meet you. So it's sort of like they really believe that you can be lovers and then be friends, but for us that's very hard to get our heads around. We think if you've had that romantic and side and that fantasy and everything, how can you ever just go back to, you know, like nothing ever happened? I find that really hard to get my head around, but it seems so normal here.
And it's really a two-way street. I think that's important to say. It's not as if they can be friends with their girlfriends and then you can't be friends with your ex-boyfriend. Robin has no problem with me going to, like, both of my ex-boyfriends still live in Paris. He would have no problem with me grabbing coffee with them, going and seeing them for a drink. So it does go both ways.
Cool, guys. So I hope that you liked that. That was the 5 things that we wished we had known about Frenchmen before we started dating them or marrying them. But of course, there's a lot more that came from. It is not finished here, so we'll be coming back at you with part 2 to this video. So if you want to see that, give this video a thumbs up. Give us a comment down below. Are you dating a Frenchman? Are you a Frenchman? What do you think? Let us know down below in the comments. We'll definitely be checking those out. And until the next video, a bientôt!
A bientôt!
Something super exciting is that Kate has actually just launched her blog about her life, her experiences in Paris and all over the world, actually. So do you want to let them know where you can find your blog?
Yeah, so you guys can find me at unintentionallyfrenchified.com, and I am going to be writing about my experiences in France, but also about all of the different places that I've been traveling to, and my favorite topic, the best pizza restaurants in Paris.
Cool. Awesome. I'll link it down below, of course, in the description box so you guys can go and check it out.